Welcome back to 3 postures a day for 30 days to stretch and relax your pelvic floor. I'm Tracy, and today's postures will be entirely on the back. We will start with bridge pose. We will do a modified leg up the wall, or you might even call it knee to chest. And we will finish with a reclined cobbler's pose. So I invite you to grab a block. You definitely want one for our first posture. Pause the video and we'll get started. All right, first posture is bridge pose. So I invite you to get down on the floor and come onto your back, and whatever method works for your body today. And remember, as you're breathing, same in every class that I teach, you really want to focus on the breath and moving the air all the way down to the pelvic floor. So with every inhale, the chest rises, the rib cage expands, the belly presses out, and you're filling air all the way down to the pelvic floor. And this is really accentuated in bridge pose. Alrighty, so the feet are on the floor, nice and flat, grounded. The knees are hip distance apart, the same as the feet, and the shoulders are going to stay flat on the floor. You can raise up your bottom and place your yoga block directly underneath your sacrum. Now, super important here that you're resting on the sacrum, not the spine. And what this does is it keeps your pelvis in neutral, and because we're resting on the block, we're not really engaging the butt muscles, we're not stressing about anything, we're just keeping a nice natural curve by keeping a straight spine. And then the hands can be either on the belly or flat on the floor. So my shoulders are down on the floor, my gaze is at the ceiling, the pelvis is aligned as the sacrum's flat on the block, and the feet are grounded into the floor. And you can adjust the block higher or lower, whatever works for your body today. And as you breathe, you'll really notice the belly movement. You'll really notice the belly motion. So find what works for you. Come into your version of the posture. Nice and relaxed. And we're here for 6 deep breaths. In, relaxing the pelvic floor. And exhale, relaxing the pelvic floor. And you have 5 more breaths at your own pace. And don't collapse the spine. Make sure the chest is staying up. Let's do one more full breath together. Inhale. And exhale. We'll inhale, deep breath one more time. And on the exhale, lift the bottom, remove the block, and we will transition into a modified leg up the wall. Excuse me, legs up the wall, both. So I invite you to keep the back straight, nice and flat on the floor. And as in all the postures you've seen up till now when we're lying on the floor, if you notice your rib cage is popping up and there's a lot of space in the back, grab a blanket or a pillow, put it under your head, and that'll bring the rib cage down. Just remember your gaze is still at the ceiling. All right, so sacrum's flat on the floor. We'll lift one knee at a time and put the hands on the knees, and the hip is at 90 degrees, and the legs can either hang down or come out. And we're not hugging the knees to the chest, because what this does is it brings the bottom off the floor. Your sacrum is no longer flat on the floor, and although it can be a nice stretch sometimes, the pelvis isn't in neutral. So we're going to back off, 90 degrees, sacrum flat on the floor, and this is your neutral spine. If you need a little more, you can also do the same thing with the sacrum on the block. Again, not the spine, just the bony sacrum. And then lift one leg at a time. And then the hands are on the knees. And if you want, you can extend the legs. It just depends on how your body feels today. For me, this is enough. And then my knees are roughly hip distance apart. Shoulders down, gaze at the ceiling. Let's start our breathing for 6. Let's do one more big inhale, full breath. Nice long exhale. We'll inhale one more time. And on the exhale, release one leg and then the other as you raise your bottom to remove your block. Now we need 2 blocks for reclined cobbler's pose. So I invite you to zip the legs together so the knees are touching, the inner legs are touching, the feet are touching, and we'll set the blocks on either sides of the body. Now you want the sacrum to stay nice and flat on the floor, and I invite you to splay the knees out to the side, bringing the bottoms of the feet together, and resting your legs on your blocks. So you should feel a nice, yummy stretch on the inner thighs, and maybe even in your hip flexors. Now, if you find that you have your blocks adjusted like I do and your bottom is tilting down and the sacrum's coming off the floor, it means you've gone too far. Don't worry, these blocks are adjustable. So in that case, you would just find a different height, or you could even move the blocks closer to the hips. And you can always have the option of gently holding on to the blocks. If you can't quite balance and they're moving, that's fine too. So find what works best for your body, and you can push the feet out further or bring them closer to your bottom. It just depends on how you're feeling today. So the feet are together, the legs are splayed out, resting on the blocks, sacrum's flat on the floor. Chest is coming up slightly toward the chin, and the chin's to the ceiling as your gaze is straight above you. And we'll be here for 6 last breaths. Hands on the belly, really feel the belly come up with every inhale. This is by far my favorite stretch for stretching pelvic floor. One more cycle of breath together. Big inhale, biggest breath of the day. Nice long exhale. One more breath in. And on the exhale, use your fingers to guide those legs back together. Extend them out in a quick shavasana. Just 1 or 2 breaths here. And that is it for your 3 postures today. That is the end of class 13. I hope you didn't find it unlucky, and I'll see you again tomorrow for 14. I wish you well, and I hope you enjoyed it. Namaste.